Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burbies 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Time check for you, 12 hours 7. My name is Amrita Koshal, and it is now time for your main newscast. In the headlines, no audit of Exxon's $9.5 billion bill warrants no approval for Yellowtail project, according to former EPA head. Amila Falls Hydro project figures don't add up. Onus now on government to come clean, according to Energy Institute. Liza 1 can safely pump 144,000 barrels per day, current EPA head clarifies. Proposed law demands locals supply oil sector with materials not produced in Guyana. And for your final headline, man in handcuffs chokes lover in court. And now for your news in detail. Former EPA head Dr. Vincent Adams is calling on the government not to approve ExxonMobil's fourth project, the Yellowtail development, until the U.S.-based oil giant agrees to a belated audit of its $9.5 billion U.S. spending. The government said that the audit was not conducted as the country lacks the skills to get the job done. However, Adams believes the administration should use as leverage the Yellowtail project, which is yet to be approved, to force Exxon into extending the time for the completion of the audit. Adams said to not conduct the audit could result in the giveaway of billions to the oil giant. Vice President Jagdeo said that the government is disappointed that it had not been able to push through with these critical audits, citing the absence of strong local groups to do the audits is what stymied the process. The only cost Guyana stands a chance of auditing and refuting if unreasonable charges are found are those occurring from 2019 onwards. It therefore means that the PPPC administration still has ample opportunity to review costs extended for ExxonMobil's Payara development project in the Stabroek block that is expected to cost $9 billion US. In light of concerns that ramped-up production levels on the Liza Destiny FPSO vessel could leave Guyana exposed to grave dangers, EPA head Kamraj Parsram has come forward to categorically state that nothing could be further from the truth. Parsram was keen to note that the Liza Destiny does have a design capacity of 100,000 barrels of oil per day. While this is confirmed in the environmental impact assessment for the Liza Phase 1 project, Parsram noted that the document states that production can safely occur beyond the design capacity. The EPA head cited specifically page 28 of the EIA. Parsram stated that it is the understanding of the agency that 144,000 barrels is safe, while adding that it is on this basis that approval was granted to ESO. And in other news, we now tell you electricity generation in Guyana is largely fueled by heavy fuel oil and diesel power plants run by GPL at a cost of $0.36 US per kilowatt, but the figures being proffered as cheaper alternatives do not add up. In fact, the administration, in its presentations trumpeting the Amila Falls hydroelectric project, previously estimated in excess of $1 billion US, has in fact convoluted the affair with regard whether the cost of electricity for the consuming public will be reduced or increased. Vice President Jagdeo has been at the forefront in recent years, reiterating the electricity rates for consumers in Guyana being slashed by half, with GPL still earning a decent profit. The assertions were recently adumbrated by Think Engine Institute and Energy Services Alfred Bulai, who said, based on the information being peddled by administration spokespersons, the repayment costs for the projects would not allow for the electricity cost to be reduced, but in fact will increase. The Federation of Independent Trade Unions of Guyana has acknowledged that the 7% pay increase offered to public servants is inadequate, but said in the private sector the increase is several times more than what those employers are offering to their workers. FITUG said while it recognizes there may be little the government can do to control these external events, it noted the president's seeming disappointment in that the measures his government took to relieve some pressures are not reaching the ordinary people. A 54-year-old man was burned to death early Thursday morning in a fire at his Lot 156 Market Street Enterprise East Coast Demerara residence. According to the Guyana Fire Service, the 54-year-old man, Shovash Gulchand, resided in the flat wooden building with his brother Suresh Gulchand. The fire department was made aware of the blaze at 3:40 hours, and water tender 103 from the Melanie Fire Station was immediately dispatched to the area. An ambulance and crew, as well as members of the Guyana Police Force, also responded to the scene. As a result of the fire, Gulchand tragically lost his life, and the entire building and its contents were destroyed. Due to radiated heat, 2 vehicles located on the western side of the building were severely damaged. Time check for you, 12 hours 13. We will return with more news in detail shortly after the break.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues, immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Diana, join me on the Glenn Lal Show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:20 p.m. and a rebroadcast at 11 a.m. The Glenn Lal Show only on Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 and 99.5 FM.
My name is Amrita Koshal, and we now return with news in detail. Mohammed Enterprise on Thursday sought to set the record straight and defend why it has been so successful recently in winning quite a few multi-million construction contracts from the government. The company came under the spotlight after it was awarded a $614 million contract on Wednesday to construct a new Guyana Fire Service headquarters along Homestretch Avenue, Georgetown. Questions were raised about the company's experience and whether it is qualified enough to undertake such a project. It was reported too that Mohammed's enterprise had placed the highest bid of $858 million for the construction of the new GFS headquarters and was still awarded the contract for a sum of $614 million. Mohammed said that his company did not submit a bid of that amount and related that MPTAB made a mistake when it published the bids. The Minister of Home Affairs, Robson Ben, who was part of the signing ceremony of the contract on Wednesday, also related that he is only aware of the $614 million that was in the contract document. Guyana's proposed local content bill has been condemned by some international experts as being unrealistic, and a perusal of the first schedule of the draft bill would see the assumption appearing to bear true, since it demands and reserves for Guyanese the supply of several types of materials currently not produced in Guyana. According to the draft schedule, other demands being reserved for Guyanese to supply up to 95% include, among other things, the supply of valves and pumps, cement, heat exchangers, and other piping accessories. Additionally, when it comes to legal services, all legislative drafting for the sector has been reserved for Guyanese from day one, as well as legal consultancies. The proposal does allow for a sliding scale at the lower end of between 50 and 60% to, at the end of 10 years, 95% of in-house legal work as well as legal advisory services be supplied exclusively by Guyanese. In other news, we now tell you, chaos broke out on Thursday at the Wales Magistrates Court when a Colombian man choked his reputed wife while being arraigned on a charge of assault. The Colombian national, Alberto Jose, was actually in handcuffs when he jumped out of the prisoner's dock and choked the woman, Yolerdi Caromota, a Venezuelan woman, in front of the magistrate. We understand that prior to assaulting the woman, Jose was taken to the court by police ranks. Caromota was also present at the time, and as the magistrate was in the process of reading the charge, Jose jumped over the dock in his attempt to assault the woman. The woman was reportedly rescued by a police constable on sentry duties who also managed to restrain Jose. As a result, Jose will remain behind bars until March 30th, 2022. And now for your COVID-19 update, the Ministry of Health reported that Guyana's COVID-19 death toll has moved to 983. Further, in its daily COVID-19 dashboard, the Health Ministry recorded 89 new infections, taking the total number of confirmed cases in the country to 37,613. The dashboard also shows that there are 14 patients admitted into the ICU, 72 persons admitted into institutional isolation, 1,525 in home isolation, and 3 in institutional quarantine. To date, a total of 35,019 persons have recovered from the virus. We now turn your attention to page 7 of the Kaieteur News, Blunt. Region 10 people are objecting. Disappointed contractors are complaining. How does an overnight contractor get a $364 million contract? Tender boards don't matter. Procurement commission means nothing. What matters and means something is affiliation with the PPP. A year and a half from now, we shall see the results. My name is Amrita Kosha, and this was your main newscast.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums.